What is the mistake? This S it creates much. It creates much. Okay, so yesterday we had seen what we can take from Ramayana and Mahabharata. Let's see the biggest contribution of this gentleman. He had. Who is this? Chanakya. He is also known as Kautilya. He has written the Arthashastra, and as I mentioned yesterday, the entire world is following economics and finance based on what he has written. So I could see that the generation of the birth of Arthashastra, economics and finance is in India, which is why this. He was a teacher actually. You see this. Chanakya, also known as Kautilya or Vishnu Gupta, these three names, was an ancient Indian teacher. So very often we have got a question that what is the teacher's contribution to the society. Earlier days, yesterday also I discussed about Gurukul system, where the student goes to the house of the Guru and the teacher. He stays with the Guru and then he learns everything from him. So Gurukul meaning is where you, at the end of probably your entire education, you become as if you are belonging to the same fraternity, to the same generation as the Guru. Kul means generation or a caste or a creed. So you belong to that Guru generation. So that tradition has been coming, and this was one teacher who was also a philosopher and who was an advisor to the king at that time. That name will come here. So he was Indian teacher, philosopher, economist, jurist, and royal advisor who authored the ancient Indian treatise Arthashastra. As such, he is considered a pioneer in the field of political science and economics in India, and his work is thought of as an important precursor to classical economics. His works were lost near the end of Gupta Empire. So Chandragupta Maurya was the name of the king who he was an advisor. So Chanakya assisted his first Mauryan emperor Chandragupta and his rise to power. He is widely credited for having played an important role in the establishment of Maurya Empire, and Chanakya served as the chief advisor to this emperor Chandragupta and of course his son Bindusara. This is the history of Chanakya, which may not be of interest to you, but then what he has taught to entire management fraternity is more important. So as I already mentioned, India is the birthplace of Arthashastra, that is Kautilya. It's very famously known as Kautilya, say Arthashastra. Arthashastra we found by book. So again, something repeated. So this comes from the finest management thinker the world has ever produced, Kautilya. He was a teacher in monastery or the University of Takshashila at that time. It's written as Takshila in English, but then it is Takshashila. That's the name of the ancient university. He played a vital role in establishing the first empire of India. So in the happiness of his subject lies in the king's happiness. Now this was a philosophy at that time that if you want the people who are staying in that kingdom happy, you have to see to it that the king is happy. Because only the happy people can keep others happy. It's very simple to understand. If you are happy, then only you can make others happy. If you are miserable, you are sad, then you cannot make others people happy. Rather, if you are sad and if other people are happy, you will become more sad. See, this is a simple psychology which we can call it the human cycle. If you are in a sad mood and some of your friends they are laughing, they are chit-chatting, they are enjoying, then you will feel more sad. Right? So you can make the others happy only when you are happy. That is the philosophy. And talking about the king's being happy, this king is having a lot of prosperity. The king is making a lot of money. He is trying to see the peace, harmony, all whatever is expected to be amongst the people who he belongs to. I mean, who he is controlling as well. And on the top of it, the philosophy of economics is that if the king has the ability to understand how the money is to be used properly, then it can be brought down to the level of the people who are staying in the kingdom. So the king should be wise. The king should understand the importance, meaning, and the effective use of the money which is being getting. So there are cases, if you read the history, there are many kings who were proven to be big failure because they literally, what I would say, wasted the money like anything. And then they become so poor that they literally have to beg for certain things. And there are some cases, so some kings, typically in Maharashtra history, if you see, there were some kings who were having a lot of abundance of amount of money with them. But then, because they were not able to manage their money properly, they become almost bankrupt. So it is as simple as understanding our banks or maybe any particular business where the business is growing and the people at the top, they don't understand how to utilize their money. So a day will come where the company will become bankrupt and the entire business go to the lose. So therefore he has given more importance, rather he started his philosophy of Arthashastra or economics from the point that the happiness of the kingdom lies in the happiness of the king. And their welfare is welfare. So that if the king is good person, now good word is that way very subjective. So we use good word very common. For example, if I ask you how was your food today, you will say yes, it was good. If I ask you how was my lecture, you say it is good. So can you compare food and lecture together? Was the lecture tasty? No. So that's the thing. Good word is very what I would say, inadvertently used just like that without thinking whether it will fit or not. We can say the food was tasty and the lecture was interesting. But then tasty and interesting words are replaced by the word good. So that way I am using the word good here. So if you want to see the welfare of the people whom you are controlling from the king's perspective, in that case it depends upon the welfare of the people. So if the king wants to have the welfare implemented in his kingdom, first he has to think of it and then he has to implement it with the proper use of Arthashastra. Arthashastra is economics. He shall not consider only that which pleases him, but gives as beneficial to him whatever pleases his subjects. Subjects means all the people who are there. He spoke about the qualities essential for wise and virtuous king, that's called as Rajarshi. Now this is a typical concept which was there at that time. Just looking at this side, because it's too hot on that side. Check whether I am seen in that frame. Can you see the light? No. Now? The lady. Yes. That's the trouble. I'm doing it for fan. Yes. Okay, so this is the concept which I was explaining. The concept of wise and virtuous king. The concept called as Rajarshi. Now, if you see the word Rajarshi, it is what Sanskrit based. Rajarshi, which is a combination of Raja, that is king, and Rishi means some saint or some seed, some sadhu kind of a person. So if the king is like Rajarshi, means who behaves or who acts like a king, what is the duties of the king? Is to keep the economy of the entire kingdom running. Then he should have think about welfare of the people. But keeping the people happy in the kingdom, that is a typical lookout of a saint or a sadhu. So you may be knowing some of the saints or sadhus from India, there are many. So if you go to them, what they will teach you, they will tell you try to be happy from within. Yesterday also we have discussed the motivation, happiness, it all comes from within. So you have to be happy from within. So thought of being happy is something which sane people will think about. So sadhu people will think about making the people happy in their lives. Whereas Raja or the king will think about making the people prospering, making the people more money, and money, according to some philosophies, will bring you the happiness. There were a lot of WhatsApp forwards people talking to you about money is not the only thing, money cannot bring happiness, all that philosophy is okay. But ultimately, that is a fact of today's materialistic world, that you have to have money to get the happiness. If you don't have money, probably you won't be able to purchase all those luxuries, all those kind of things which will give you comfort in the life, you will not get happiness. Though there is no connection between, direct connection between the money, amount of money which you have and the happiness, but ultimately happiness to some extent is connected to the money. So if you want to keep your people in your kingdom happy, you have to make them prosper, get them more money, make them more prospectus things in their future life, so that they will be happy for the entire life. Now if you could connect it to the management and the economy of the world, if you could see the countries where people have got more amount of money they are making, what is the economical concept for that? Individual person's income. What is it called as? GDP. Now, not GDP.
Per capita income.
Per capita income. Per capita income is the concept which will tell you about the richness of that country, or which will tell you the prosperity or economic condition of that country. So if you see the per capita income of all those advanced countries, USA, UK, Europe, France, Germany, those countries have got their per capita income. I don't remember exactly the figures, but then I think it is somewhere in the range of $2,000 per day per capita income. Whereas in India it comes to around $20. That much difference is there. And if you have got less money for which you, then you are likely to be more unhappy. The reason being, we always, it is again human tendency to compare ourselves with somebody else. And as I said right at the start, if you are sad, if you see other people happy, there is every possibility that you will become more sad rather than becoming more happy. That is what we call it in simple terms of jealousy. We always use the word J-feeling. I have got J-feeling towards you. So you might use it as a phrase, but then inner somewhere you are feeling that I should have to have the money what that person is making. I should have to have been that rich what that person is. So this feeling itself will give you sadness or misery. So according to this philosophy, the king should see that all the people in the empire, in the kingdom are making sufficient money, at the same time they are very rich. So the king who is able to balance, put the balance between the two, that king is called as Rajarshi. So he is behaving like a Raja, like a king, and at the same time he is behaving like a saint or some saint or some sadhu kind of a person who wants the entire earth to be happy. So if that king is a combination of these two, then that king is supposed to be successful. Chandragupta Maurya was one of the successful kings in the history. So he was advisor to this king, and he said that the virtuous and wise king is the one who can make the empire happy. Such as conquering the temptations of senses, that is something to do with rishi people, saint people. Continuously improving self-discipline and learning, again related to rishi people. Being as an example for others. So being an example for others is king. There is a very clear mention in Bhagavad Gita that if you want to become a human being, there is one chapter in Bhagavad Gita called as Vibhuti Yoga, that is the 10th chapter, where Lord Krishna is telling to Arjuna that I was so and so, I was, if suppose amongst birds, I am what is the English name for Garuda? Eagle. If I am the topmost person in all the fraternity, if I want to become a bird, I would prefer to become another. I am eagle. If I am an animal, I am elephant. If I am a running animal, then I am a horse. So like that, there are somewhere around 100 such examples are given. If I am a season, then I am the best season of spring. Like that. If I am a month, I am a Margashirsha month, which comes in the month of December. So he is trying, Sri Krishna is trying to say that whatever you want to be, try to be on the peak, try to be on the apex. So even if you become a worker, try to be the best worker. Even if you want to become, in some of the Hindi movies, it is shown this kind of philosophy. आपको अगर चोर बनना है तो सबसे बड़ा चोर बनो. So whatever you do, you be the best in that particular fraternity. Likewise, in the same chapter, 10th chapter, Bhagavad Gita says that if you want to become a human being, be a king. Because king is the one who enjoys all the fruits of his being there, his life there. He is the one who enjoys all happiness. He is the one who can enjoy all the money. So if you want to be happy, you have to be becoming the king. But then can all of us become king? Not possible. But then we should try to become like a king, at least whatever are our needs, we should try to get that much amount of money so that we get the satisfaction. And as I started our today's session saying that satisfaction lives somewhere within. So how are you or how much are you satisfied within yourself? That depends only on you, not from the outer side. So inner motivation, inner satisfaction, when we are talking about, it is whatever you have, you are satisfied with. You may be staying in a 1 BHK flat, you may be earning a salary of say 50,000 rupees per month, you may be traveling by local trains, but then you are very happy in your life. So that happiness on a very spiritual level say that happiness lies in you, and it is you who will decide what is happiness for you. When you are trying to compare, as I was telling earlier, you are trying to compare with somebody who is making more money, staying in a better location, then maybe having a better car, big bungalow, traveling every day by Mercedes Benz, then you will always feel miserable. And the only reason is comparison. Just to give you what I would say the lifetime learning, as far as my life is concerned, most of the problems in the world, listen to this sentence very carefully, most of the problems in the world are only because of comparison. Think on it. Maybe you will understand, you will accept this thing maybe after 20 years. Remember this one. Most of the problems in the world are only because of comparison. If your classmate has got a placement in a great company with high CTC package, you will compare yourself with that person and problems will start from there. If your classmate gets more marks than you, again comparison. If some of your friend is working with an MNC with all those facilities which I just mentioned, facilities, work, benefits, high package, you will start comparing yourself and problem starts. When there are problems between the family who are staying next to each other, they will always hear these kind of things. The family people are saying, "Oh, बाजू में देखो, इनका लड़का कितना अच्छा है, इंजीनियरिंग कर रहा है, अपना लड़का नहीं पढ़ रहा है." What is happening here? Again, comparison. Is it necessary that if somebody's family, as I gave you my own example, if somebody's family has got one engineer and one doctor, all the family should have? Who is going to be the patient in that case if everybody becomes doctor? So point is, if you compare with somebody, you will never be happy. And philosophy or spiritual science still goes ahead and says that if you want to compare yourself with yourself. So where I was last year, can I get more marks as compared to last year? If somebody is getting better placement, I might compare myself with her. I might be getting better than him or her. So you compare with your own performance. We have got a concept in management called as benchmarking, and that benchmarking is nothing but in simple words is comparison. When you benchmark somebody, you are doing your comparison with that person. That concept is, you might have seen on the streets when the road widening work is going on, there is one person who is taking some kind of a rod in his hand, and there is some person standing at a distance, there is some instrument is looking through that instrument. Have you seen this when the road widening work is going on? So that rod where this person is holding for the first time, that particular level or that particular ground is called as a benchmark. And then he will leave that rod, he will go to some another place, he will go to some third place. And then everywhere at different places that person who is with that machine will measure and write down some numbers. So he will be writing the level of that ground with reference to this point. This ground level at this here, at this place here, the ground there might be slightly down, the ground here might be slightly up, somewhere it might be somewhere in between. But I am writing the levels of all the grounds with reference to this particular first point, which is called as the benchmark. So with reference to this benchmark, I am comparing all other points as levels of ground. This is very commonly used in road widening or engineering or construction industry. So this benchmarking is a concept which is taken as it is in management, where we say whenever you are benchmarking, if you are considering somebody as a benchmark, it's okay as far as it's an idol and you want to become like an idol. You might be having some idols in your life, that I want to become like Mahatma Gandhi, I want to become like Swami Vivekananda. Like that case, you are benchmarking yourself with them. So you are trying to compare yourself with them. Is it possible that you can become Swami Vivekananda? You have to ask to yourself. Because in that case, you are comparing yourself have those abilities. Swami Vivekananda was thorough with all the entire world's spiritual sciences. He was thorough with Bible, he was thorough with Bhagavad Gita, and whatever books he used to read, he used to remember each and every word from that book. यहाँ तो हमको आधा पैराग्राफ भी नहीं याद है. So is it possible? What I am trying to tell you is that when you are comparing with others, miserably you will be failing, and you will always be inviting nothing but the troubles and miseries. So better you compare with yourself. If you want to mug up say one paragraph, you compare next day you will mug up second paragraph. This is not of course required in management. So comparison is the one which is bringing a lot of trouble. Coming back to the things, so you have to be an example. We have diverted from this particular point. So wherever you are, in whichever field you go, try to be on the apex, try to be setting an example for others. Let people compare themselves with you, that is not your problem. Right? If you are feeling jealous about somebody else, you will have a problem. The person to whom you are feeling jealous, that person won't have any problem. Getting that point, try and understand the situation. If say this guy is feeling jealous about her, she will not have any problem. He will have any problem. Getting that? So, in a way, you try yourself to be the example for others. Let people be jealous about you, that is not your lookout. It is that people just thinking how they are taking it up, how they are looking at you, whether they are comparing them with you or they are simply looking at you as an idol and they are worshipping you just like gods. We cannot think about becoming like God. So we worship them. So you may be a worshipper, worshipping idol to whom people are worshipping. Their jealousy part doesn't come into the picture. As far as it is like that, then it's okay. I hope you are understanding what I am talking. So though a very long explanation, we can example. So you have to set an example for all the people around, as Chandragupta Maurya has said, as Kautilya Arthashastra, all the great people in the history, they have set an example. So when it comes to non-violence, we always think about Mahabharata. Why? Because he has set that concept and he has exhibited that concept while India was trying to get the independence. So he has set an example. What do you mean by non-violence? So that way, in your area, there are you could see the example from corporate also. The people are expert in particular area. Supposing, just to give an example, we are using this QR code very often, right? QR codes. Do you know QR code? Yes. What is it? Yes. Okay. What is it? What do you use it for? For paying. For paying the things, even your Google Pay, Paytm, all those facilities, they do have a QR code. So if you don't have a number of somebody, you might have seen all the shops. So there's a QR code, you scan it. Since when you are using, next question, since when you are using QR code? Since when you are using QR code? 2016. Yes. कब से यूज कर रहे हैं सबसे क्वेश्चन? नो? 1970. आप कब से यूज कर रहे हो? आप लोग कब से यूज कर रहे हैं? 1970. 1716 we started. 1718, right? So 2017 we started using QR codes, right? Do you know when the QR codes start? People using QR codes since when? We think that it's a very new thing come up in India in 2017, but it was invented in 2005 by a Japanese engineer. So they used to have, even earlier also used to use those barcodes, vertical line of barcodes used to be there, the scanner used to be there. So that was creating a lot of problem for this manufacturing company in Japan. I forgot the name of that person. Hero was the first name, I forgot the surname. The company is an IT manufacturing company, so they used to use barcodes, which was very troublesome and it was a lot of data handling. So he has invented a QR code in Japan in 2005, and India we started in somewhere in 17. So we always think that ये नया है बाजार में. There was a joke, ये नया है मतलब ऐसा कुछ था ना पूरी टीवी सीरियल. So we think that it is new, but then it is always new in India, which is happening in all other advanced countries. India is said to be 15 to 20 to 25 years behind all the advanced countries. This Uber cab, it's running in UK for last 25 years. Slightly less than that. But we have started anything some 5 years before. So most of the inventions which we think are very much innovative, we have been taking it from the Western countries or European countries. But all these knowledge on which the entire economy runs, that is based in India. So being an example for others, practicing dharma, you want to become an example for others, and we should always be example on a positive note. There is a word in Marathi, I won't be able to translate in English. It's called as you have to be famous, but positively famous. I will make you understand this by a dialogue by a villain in one of the Hindi movies. He says, "Badnaam hue to kya hua? Naam to hua." So we don't want that kind of famous or that kind of publicity. We want to have the positive impression about us in the other mind. That means we are famous because of we are following all the things righteously. We are very much disciplined. We are very much virtuous. We are free from all the senses. We are very much disciplined. We are very much learning. So whenever you want to set an example, you should try to set the positive example by following the rules, regulations, and ethics. Basically, cultivating intellect by associating elders, promoting welfare and security of the people that the king is supposed to do. And Kautilya advised the king the same. What Arthashastra speaks about is ideal leadership. I already mentioned who can be an ideal leader. The leader or the king, who is a combination of king and seat. Raja Rishi, Raja plus Rishi. It also gives, this was already covered earlier, Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya, welfare. So you should always think about the welfare of the people who are staying in the kingdom. The people staying in the kingdom, we have got a Hindi word for it as a praja. Any English word for that? Praja के लिए English word क्या है? Territory. Territory is a region. Praja means the people. People who are staying in that kingdom, belonging to that kingdom. We can say civilians. Civilians who are staying in that kingdom, who are Praja. All the people who stay in that kingdom territory. Right? That is Praja. So welfare of that Praja, welfare of the people who stay, welfare of all the civilians under the control of Vikramaditya's kingdom or under the control of Vikramaditya's territory, whichever belongs to him. So all the historical Raja Maharajas that we see, they try to encroach into somebody else's territory, they try to win that territory so that their rule gets on extending that way, by winning the wars. But the purpose of the leadership should be welfare of the people. Bahujana means all the people. Hitaya and Sukhaya is for the benefit of many, for the happiness of people. I have already explained the earlier slide. Benefit is related to money and monetary terminology. Happiness is something to do with the inner consciousness, inner spirituality, inner satisfaction. Management. So there are different kind of words which we use in management, vision and mission. Any organization when it starts with that company, maybe before you start something, vision has to be decided. If you can recollect, yesterday I have shown one display of N.S. Narayan Murthy, when he was saying that when we sat on deciding to start with a company, what we decided that we want to keep the people happy and we want the respect from all the stakeholders. That is a vision. Vision is looking into the future, looking for a longer duration. Mission are the steps to reach to the vision. So vision is, as translated in Sanskrit, as Prabhu Shakti. What the God can see, we cannot see. You will always see in some of the mythological series, you might have seen the God comes and then he tells, I know what is going to happen in the future. Can you see like that? What will happen tomorrow in Mumbai? Don't know. There was an accident when I came from Pune to Mumbai yesterday. When I came here, the accident happened later. I was not going there. There were 13 vehicles banged on each other. Fortunately, nobody died because there was an accident. So nobody had predicted it. The recent example from corporate world is Cyrus Mistry died in an accident. You must be reading the news. He was sitting on the backside bench in a vehicle like Mercedes Benz. Still he died, and the reason found was he was not wearing seatbelts. So a lot of memes have come again on seatbelts or WhatsApp. Point is that what may happen into the future, only Prabhu knows. Prabhu is the God. So Prabhu's Shakti means Prabhu's ability to see to the future. Translated to management era is your ability to see where you want to see your company after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 50 years down the line. You will be surprised to know that if I tell you that customer is a king, is a concept in management. You might have learned probably in commerce or some other, or you may be knowing this concept. Even if you don't do management, this is a common concept which we all know. Customer is a king. This concept or this particular philosophy has been given by Mahatma Gandhi in 1950. Can you believe this? 1950 is how many? 107 years before. 107 years before, he has thought that the future will be there sometimes where customer will be the king in the era when customer was never king. Try to understand. You may not be able to imagine this because you have not seen the world like that. But I remember, even if you still go to some of the village areas, you will see that in the entire village there is only one shop, one grocery shop. Have you gone to any village so far? Or maybe in the locality where you are staying, there might be some one shop nearby who will be selling all the grocery items, then you will get all soaps and toothpaste, everything in that one shop. And that is the only one shop available in your locality, assume that. Now it is not a situation, at least in a city or city like Mumbai. But then if you still go to village areas or go to smaller cities, you will find that there is one shop, only one shop rather. So whatever is available in that shop, you don't have any choice, you have to purchase it. So that time, this I am talking about even today in the village areas, and when I was a child, even in city areas, that was the situation. And I was a child some 40-50 years before. But Mahatma Gandhi taught before I was born, some 50 years before, that customer is going to be king or customer is king when customer was never a king and seller was a king. The example which I am trying to give you is seller will tell you, Lifebuoy is the only soap available. So take bath only with this soap. There is no other option. Dove nahi hai, aapka kaun se soap aate hai. Now if you go to mall, you will find 50 different soap displayed because I don't want to use Lifebuoy or maybe Dove or maybe any. These are just examples. My liking might be something different which is not available in that shop. The shop people will tell you, they like to hear. So you don't have any option. So that market from economics perspective is called as seller's market. Because whatever is available with the seller, you have to use only that. I can give you another example from a real management area. You might have heard about Ford. What is that Ford company about? Cars, right? So Ford is supposed to be one of the best car manufacturers, giving the quality as far as the cars are concerned. But typically, the civilian cars are concerned. When they started manufacturing, they used to manufacture only black color cars. The only color available in the car was black. The customers used to ask them that, do you have any other color available in your cars? They said yes, we do have all other colors as far as it is black. Means in short, black hai, then I told you, this is the only color available. Getting that? Now if you are an Indian and you hate black color, rather there is a tradition or some kind of customs are there in India, black color is considered as inauspicious. Black color, some of the castes, some of the communities, some religions consider black color as inauspicious. Punjabis, you rarely find them using black colors, they consider inauspicious. Hindus, black color nahi pehne, because that black color is supposed to be the color of negativity, color of inauspicious things. So if you are wearing black color, if you are using black color, some bad thing will happen. That is assumption. In reality, it may not happen. If you see the entire film industry is using black colors. Black color is also at the same time a color of grandeur, a color of creating an impression. But we have, when it comes to positivity and negativity, negativity attracts us more. So most of the Indians are thinking that black color is inauspicious. So you will very rarely see black color cars on the street. And you will agree with me. Rarely you will come across black color cars because people have got that inauspiciousness connected with black color. So coming back to the example, people in India wouldn't have purchased Ford car because black color was the only color available. So the Indian market would not have been sufficiently open for Ford car. Again, as the days went on, because that time it was a seller's market, so whatever I have, you have to purchase only that. I am not going to change myself for you. But the market has changed and the seller market has become the customer's market. Customer is a king. So I want to have some different color in the car. So Ford also have, now I think they are giving some 10-15 colors available. If you are thinking about two-wheelers, there is a two-wheeler called as TVS Scooty. Now you tell them which color you want and they will give you manufacturer. As it is, there were some around 80-85 colors available. Why? Because the color which I like, so you might be liking black color, somebody might be hating black color. Somebody you like white color, somebody might be hating white color. So the color choices are totally, absolutely individual choices. Do you agree with this? The colors which you like, the color somebody else is using, you might be hating that color and then you will not probably like that person because he is using the color which you hate. That's how the psychology keeps on developing. Point is that you have to have certain facility from the seller, you dictate and then the seller will give you. So Mahatma Gandhi is seeing this in 1915 that there will be an era where customer is going to be the king and then whatever I tell you, you will have to listen. Ola, Uber are the example of customer is the king. You just order on just what I did, I came from Chembur in the morning. So you just press a button, the car wala will come to the parking, you sit there just like a king, give him money, keep the change. So what you are trying to do, you are trying to enjoy the kingdom or try to enjoy the feeling of being a king. So if you think about all the products nowadays, all the products will give you, all the sales people, all the companies will give you the facility called as customization. And that customization is happening, the word has come from customer. And why that customization is required? Because customer is a king. And the customer is going to be the king. From where we diverted was a vision. What Mahatma Gandhi saw some 115 years before, 107 years before, we couldn't see that. That's why all your currency moves, Mahatma Gandhi's photograph is there, right? Not your and my photo. Because he was said to be a visionary. So visionary is just like a Prabhu Shakti, just like a Shakti or a power of a God. Only God can see into the future. Even if you go to those people who will tell you the future based on your horoscope, or who will read your hand palmistry, who will read numerology, who will read your pulses, and they will tell you your future. They will not guarantee. This kind of science, this Arthashastra or horoscope science is said to be around 63% success. So 37% still unpredictable. Whereas God can definitely tell you when you are going to die, what is going to happen in your life. So that way, in simple terms, with that example, vision is only what God has. Converting that vision into management area, every company, every industry, every institution, every business establishment, every entrepreneurial firm have to have the vision. So when they start with the business, you have to have a vision. What are you going to do with your business after 10 years, after 15 years? And that vision you may change after 10 years, because after 10 years many things must have changed. As I have been always giving the example, when we were child, we never had internet, we never had even television. I remember we bought first television when I was in 12th standard. Because that time purchasing television was a luxury, and only the rich people used to have luxury. Using landlines was a luxury. Only the rich people could afford to have landlines. So I belong to that era. But now the things have changed, so I cannot have a vision that everybody should have a handset in his hand. That's already there. So I have to change my vision. So I might have to go still ahead. Everybody should be able to have probably much smarter phone than what we have today. And those smarter phones are already coming with, at present, with the help of some kind of apps which are coming up. But then the future is there where you will not have to carry the handset also, which has already happened. See, now if you want to make a payment to somebody, you probably don't require cash. Then you connect, it's better. You connect it to Google Pay or Phone Pay, whatever it is, Pay, and then you pay through it. Somebody has seen this future, and that company might have designed, they have to have a vision that I don't need to carry cash with me. So they will come that you don't have to carry the handsets also with you. There was one video, which is of course a futuristic video which I have seen, where you simply have to wear some kind of a ring in the hand, or maybe some those wristwatches have also come, and then you just say, they project this hand on this side, this projector like will get displayed. Such handsets are available. So the day will come that probably you will put the put the chip somewhere to make a small minor operation, put the chip in your finger, instead of putting USB, put your finger into that slot. Anything can happen. So that's the future, that's the vision. So you won't have to carry your handsets also, because that is a big question. Where you will keep that handset, yahan rakho, maybe gumm ho jayega. You don't have to carry anything with you, just walk like as if you're not carrying anything. Wherever you want to pay, just simply make the hand, and then the hand will be scanned, and then you will be paid. Those kind of facilities are there in face scanning, thumb scanning, kya hota hai items. Do you require to carry any card? I have given you that example yesterday. Punch card not required. Those proximity card not required. The card to be inserted was not required. You just walk like that, just put your thumb. You are not carrying any instrument as such. So the day will come, you don't have to carry even answers. You just talk in the air, and the person, the friend who will get connected to you, you are talking to. So you will see people walking on the road talking to themselves without any handset. Nowadays, at least you will see some headphone is there, somebody talking like this. But then I am walking like this and just talking to myself. But in reality, I might be talking to somebody else. The future might be there. That is a vision. So what you want to see yourself, your company into the future, that's a vision which idealistically only God knows. But then for your company, you can think about what are the changes which are likely to happen in manufacturing industry, what are the changes which are likely to happen in hospitality industry, education sector. When Corona was not there, nobody has thought of online education. Till the time of Corona, have you attended any online session? Honestly say no. Because it was not known, it was not devised, it was not thought of, nobody had a vision of becoming online. I am talking about typically India. If you go to most of the foreign universities in UK and USA, they have online education going on for years before Corona started. Now we know we are attending the classes on Zoom, maybe Microsoft Teams, maybe Google Meet, etc. Other software also there. But this has become an advantage, but it was not a vision. So with this vision now, there is, you might have heard of it, there is something called the new education policy which our government has decided, which was actually been planned and launched on 29th of July 2020. So 2 years are there, but it is not yet implemented because we need to have a government resolution, GR what we call, to be circulated to all the institutions or colleges, then we can implement it. So the point is, this particular NEP is talking about 40% of your classes you can do online. You don't need to come for 40% of the time to the college campus. So 60% you will come, 40% you can do sit at home. So that vision this new education policy has seen. Well, I hope with all those examples you have understood what is the vision. So for your own company, which you want to start and see as your dream, or maybe some other company if you go, they will always find the vision everywhere. Vision is what you want to achieve, where you want to see your company 10 years or 20 years down the line, which could be changed at that time. So you have to go in that direction. So to achieve the vision, we have to go through the steps. And those steps are taken by who? By some kind of chanting, some kind of mantra, some kind of human beings. So missions are the steps to go to the vision. So if you, maybe you can have this assignment or exercise, not to be marked on your own, not to be submitted. Go through any company's website or maybe go through 5-10 companies' website. You will find the first, after home page, you will find vision and mission. Or maybe the home page itself, just like these society, these Kautilya business school also have got vision and mission. So you need to know what is the vision of my institution where I am studying, and am I be able to correlate with my activities, with my efforts with that vision. And that is called as a mission. So mission are the steps. Suppose if I say that I want to develop the international culture in my institute, this is my vision. Now when I am saying that international culture, I have to think about probably changing this entire infrastructure. Then even probably admitting the students, I might be having some faculty from some other university, not from India, so that I will have some ties with some universities abroad, so that I will get to know how and in what way the international education happens. So if I have got that vision of going international, I need to know the steps. So mission is nothing but the steps to reach to the vision. Okay, we shall do it. Because yesterday we had studied about senses, if you can remember. We mentioned that we have 5 senses. The rule of senses says that if one sense is powerful, the remaining 4 will become comparatively weak. Now when somebody comes late, this sense becomes powerful. And it's a very common thing in all the classes. When somebody comes late, all the people in the class will look at that person till the person takes a seat. And when you are looking at that person, your vision is strong, this sense is strong, this sense becomes weak. So in all my classes in the past, whenever somebody comes late, I stop. Because they are not listening to me anyways during that time. Those 2-3 sentences will miss. And we can prove if somebody comes late after this. We'll prove it. Because that's again proven biological fact. Therefore, talking on mobiles is not allowed while driving. You will find, at least in Mumbai, those pictures may not be very common, but in Pune, when you say it will be the two-wheeler city, this situation is very common. In Mumbai also that might be there, but in Mumbai, two-wheelers are very rare. So two-wheeler driver is always driving the vehicle like this. What happens? What is this activity? Mobile. So he is holding the mobile in his shoulder and in his ear. So he is listening to somebody who is talking to him. He is also talking. And he is trying to find out HDFC Bank. So he is looking at HDFC Bank. So then since he is talking somewhere, so his sense is more activated. This sense becomes weak. He wants to go to the HDFC Bank building. He could read also HDFC Bank, but he is talking here. He will go ahead and when the call gets over, HDFC Bank will reach here. This is a proven biological fact. If one sense is activated, all others will become weak. Doctors will always advise you not to eat anything when you are watching a TV. Do you follow that? Rather, that is a trend nowadays that the first you switch on a TV and then you take your TV. So that you are enjoying that Sasu Bhi Kabhi Maathi, some kind of serials. You are watching very much interestedly and you are having your food. Doctors will advise you not to do that. For the reason, when you are watching, this sense will become weak. So you don't know how much you are eating and what you are eating. That's why a small kid is always fed by the mother when some cartoon is going on a television. So the child is very much interested in the cartoon happening, mother will keep on feeding his mouth. So he will not come to know how much he is eating. So mother will feed all that amount which is required by their child. Point is, when one sense is activated, others become weak. So mission is the steps to going towards the vision. And those steps are just like mantra shakti, that I want to achieve that, I want to achieve God. See, connecting this philosophy or spirituality with management. So I want to achieve God. You might have seen mythological serial what the people used to do to achieve a God or to reach to the God or भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए क्या करते थे? तपस्या करते। तपस्या मतलब भगवान का नाम लेते। Means chanting of mantra or chanting of the name. What is that? That is the steps to reach to the God. So mission are just like chanting of mantras so that you will reach to your vision. So companies who have the vision which is seen by the owners of the company and the people who are in the company, they will step by step try to achieve that. That's how Prabhu Shakti is vision, Mantra Shakti is mission which is to be done by the people, and last but not the least is you have to have Utsaha. If you want to achieve God, you have to go to Himalaya, chant the name of that God for 20 years, you may not get food, you may not, definitely will not have any kind of family life, you will stand like this for all 20 years in your life, and then probably Lord Shri Krishna or maybe Lord Shiva. Shiva is supposed to be the very easy God. So if you pray him, he will get prasanna on you very easily. Right? My name is the name of Shiva, Ashutosh. Ashu means easily, lovkar, fast, and Tosh means to get satisfied. So in a lesser chanting, वो आपके सामने आ जाएगा. But still it will take you 20 years. So are you ready to go to Himalayas, stand like this and do like this for 20 years? उसमें खाना भी नहीं खाना है आपको, सोना भी नहीं है. Medical science will tell you that you can be without food for 21 days, but you cannot be without sleep for more than 3 days. You will die if you try to not to sleep within 3 days. What I am trying to tell you is that you have to have utsaha. Utsaha is motivation, energy. So are you ready to do that? Are you ready to achieve this mission? That matters a lot. And Kautilya's Arthashastra is talking about the management is basically the motivation which is going through the steps achieving the mission. That's the philosophy what Kautilya is saying. So the king in that, the king of that kingdom should have to have this motivation to keep the entire people in the kingdom happy, all the civilians happy. So if he has got that motivation, then only he will give the mission to all the different departments. So they just like assuming a central government, and they have got different ministries, education ministry there, health ministry there. So all the ministers, they will try to satisfy the goals which are given to them. Health ministry will take care about the overall health, which was seen during the COVID time. Education ministry is trying to give us the quality, so that if everything is going to be becoming good, which is in the form of mission, the vision of the India to become the superpower by 2020 minus 2 years from COVID will be possible. So when you want to see the vision, that vision has to happen through certain steps, and the people who are executing this mission, they should have to have a motivation. Motivation, yesterday we discussed inner motive. If the minister of that particular department, if he thinks, if he is positively motivated, then only he will be doing the positive. Otherwise, he will always, in general, what we see in our politics, he will always think about himself, maybe herself, and his family members, next generations. Organization, the very basic concept which you will be learning in management, organization, hierarchy, teamwork, work distribution. Yesterday, I had made a mention of manufacturing company, where there is a production department. Along with that, there is inventory management. Along with that, there is marketing, there is finance, there is MIS, there is HR, there is P&D. So all these departments are there. Then under them, so exactly on the top, there is board of directors. After board of directors, we have CEO or MD of the company. Below MD, if there is a manufacturing company, then there is director related general manager production. Below GM, there is AGM production. Below AGM production, there is senior manager production. Below senior manager, there is junior manager. Below him, senior engineer. Below him, junior engineer. There is supervisor, there is worker. So that is one full length or hierarchy. These levels, hierarchy means levels in production department. Similarly, production department cannot function. We have seen it yesterday. Production department has to have an assistant from all the other departments. They will have to have getting raw material. So there is an inventory department. So in the inventory department, same lesson. General manager, inventory, assistant general manager, inventory, senior manager, junior manager. They cannot be having workers. They will be having some clerks in that department. Finance, same. GM finance, AGM finance, senior manager finance, like territory manager finance, etc. So if you complete this chart, which common people know as an OC, organizational chart, that is nothing but the hierarchy. So Kautilya's Arthashastra also mentioned that management is possible effectively only when you define the hierarchies properly. When you define different departments and the designations, levels, number of internal levels. If you say senior manager, that senior manager category will have some M1, M7, M8, M9 levels under senior manager. So the work which is to be done by M7 not to be done by M8 and vice versa. So the point is, you have to define the roles, responsibilities, and what we call in general terminology job description or job profile in simple terms. So job profile has to be defined, work description is job profile. Who will be doing what kind of work? Working under which particular department? Who is going to be his superior, his authority? Who will be him? We will be controlling to whom? That is his subordinate. We will be working with which cadre of people? That is their colleagues. So everything has to be defined. The organization has to have a culture, work distribution and a hierarchy levels, and those levels in the forms of teams. If you have this proper structure, then organization could be effective. Very fundamental concept of management actually has come from India itself. Last but not least is ethics. That is virtue of righteousness or dharma. So whatever you are doing ethically. You are not bribing the government offices. You are not deceiving your customers. You are trying to get the satisfaction and delight of your customer. You are not trying to levy additional taxes on the customers. You are able to explain each and everything what you are doing. Terms and conditions. You are writing this. You are writing this. Don't write. I will be giving you this entire thing. So whatever you are doing, there has to be connection between doing it with ethics. So you will not be deceiving anyone, any of the stakeholders. We have seen the list of stakeholders. You are not deceiving government, you you are not deceiving the customers, you are trying to satisfy your employees, you are not deceiving any of your material suppliers, you are not deceiving nation, you are not deceiving tax department, you are not deceiving environment. So all those stakeholders, you have to keep behaving with them ethically, whichever are the ethical norms, with reference to all the stakeholders. That is what we call as ethics. Yesterday we had a long session of ethics. We will be today. So leadership pointers from Kautilya, he said that a person should not be too honest. That is one more very important. One more important concept told by Chanakya is the person should not be too honest. The reason he has given is an analogy. He says that the straight trees are cut first, and honest people are always used. So there was a very nice chapter or some kind of a poster which actually I liked it. The poster was saying the things are to be used and people are to be loved. But what is happening in today's situation is people are being used and things are loved. So if you are shifting your house from one place to another place, there are a lot of things which you want to take. नहीं ये मुझे लेके जाना है साथ, and you will use the people. इसका क्या फायदा है मुझे मेरी पूरी लाइफ में? Accordingly you will keep on. So in that context you are using the people and you are loving your belongings, things which you might have been carrying since your childhood days. कोई बचपन का आपका doll रहेगा, कोई game रहेगा that you are carrying till now. So you love the things and you use the people. So this is what that means. So the straightforward people, the honest people, they are being used means their advantage is taken to get the things done according to somebody who wants to get the things done. So the person should not be too honest. There is again very nice phrase in English that says, it is too bad to be too good. So being into management, referring to strategic management, you have to be able to understand the bad qualities of the person in front of you. At least you should be able to understand that that person is making use of you. You should not let that person allow him to make use of you. In the sense that you should not be too honest. Too honest in that sense, not unethical. Too honest, not to be honest doesn't mean being unethical. Honest in the sense that you should be able to at least understand that the person in front of you is making undue advantage of you. So never listen to any kind of such request, never listen to some bribery kind of things, never be unethical, and at least you should have the ability to understand that somebody is trying to deceive you. That is the meaning of this particular sentence. A man is made by deeds, not by birth. It is said that nobody is made by birth. So it is later on you decide what you want to do with your life. So all those people who have become great, none of them were great right at the time of the birth, so they become great later. Education is the best thing, and educated person is respected everywhere. Education is the beauty and the beauty. So if you are educated, beauty doesn't matter, and at what age you are into that doesn't matter. It is not something to do that in young age you are more beautiful and your beauty is not ever counted if you have education. There are many examples of industries. I don't want to quote the names who are not looking good, but then they are known for their quality education. They are known as brainy scientists. So becoming a brainy scientist or becoming an educated person, you don't need to be in your youth and you don't need to be beautiful. It's a knowledge what you have got here that will make you respected everywhere. Okay, then there is a theory of leadership which we will learn in some other subject. I guess OB or finance or management. You will learn a chapter called as leadership. So there are different theories of leadership. Maybe around 50, 100 theories might be there. One of the very famous and known theory is trait theory of leadership. Trait theory means the qualities or the competencies or the skills which the leader has. And if you just keep the list of those qualities, then you are calling the traits of that leader. So what are qualities the leader should have? Leader should have to have the qualities of effective communication, then maintenance of good interpersonal relationships, then understanding the people, trying to take care of the people, trying to control the people. So any leader, when we think about leader, we usually think about the political leader, isn't it? When we think about leader, we usually think about political leader. But political leader on one side is correct, that political leaders are there who are expected to have all these characteristics. But your manager is also a leader, your top authority is also a leader. You are a leader to somebody who is working at your country. So leader is the one who leads. Leads means who is in the front. So from there the word has come, but the concepts have changed to a greater extent today. Again, I will give you the example of non-violence movement which was started by Mahatma Gandhi. So he was the leader. In what sense? He used to be on the front and thousands of people used to be at the back. So when the British people used to hit our Indians, that time Mahatma Gandhi was the first person to get that stick or get that hit. So he was proving that I am leading, whatever I am doing, you follow me. So people could believe such leader if I tell you, okay, there is a gang coming in with the swords and different kind of weapons in the hands, you just go and fight with them without weapons. Will you do that? Definitely no. But if I am in the front without any weapons and I am walking towards such a gang who is with all those weapons, you will believe on me. Because he is the one who is demonstrating. So those kind of leaders were there at that time. What is leadership? Is leading from the front. Try and understand. It's a very simple thing to understand. Leading from the front means the leader is in the front and you are at the back, your followers. Then a concept came leading from behind. It is that kind of example which I am giving. I am at the back side and I'll tell you just go ahead. I am there. मैं तुम्हारे पीछे हूँ, कपड़े संभाल रहा हूँ, आप लड़ो. That kind of leader. But then those kind of leaders couldn't work much better. So, but in a way, those kind of leaders are there in the industry. So they will tell you, okay, this is the task to be done. You just go ahead. If you come across any kind of problem, any difficulty, come to me. So he will not be doing the work for you. He will ask you to do the work. But any kind of difficulty, he will support you from here. So that is the leadership from behind. That is the concept which came in industries after suddenly. Now the concept in industry about leadership is leading from behind, from front and from middle. Yesterday I had given you an example of quality circle. In the quality circle there is no leader. So in that case he is leading from the middle. So he is a part of that particular team. If he is doing certain thing, he is leading from the front. He is asking you to do certain thing, he is leading from behind. So depending on the situation, the leaders are expected to change their position. If the board of meeting is there, then general manager will be giving the presentation, not the manager below. So in that case, he is leading from the front. If some common activity is to be done, some teamwork is to be done, he will always be there to support you. In that case, he is leading from behind. And if quality circle activity comes into the picture, then he is leading from middle. So the concept of that kind of leadership is now in all the industries, leading from front, behind or middle or at the center as and when required. With all these types of leaders, front, back or middle, what is required? The qualities in the leader. And what should be the qualities of the leader in different way? Kautilya has given theory of leadership which has become nowadays very famous by the name trait theory of leadership. Which we think that somebody from USA or some European countries, they have designed this trait theory of leadership, but it is Kautilya who has designed this long back. And that is our Indian philosophy usually. Indian thinking, whatever is coming from USA, UK, Germany, Japan, that is something great. But then during my sessions of these remaining hours, we will be proving that whatever is being followed in management, everything was available from or available in India long before. So Kautilya has stated, an ideal king is the one who has got the highest quality of leadership, is intellectual and possesses good personal attributes. The king himself should be a role model. The king himself should be telling to the civilians that I am like this and I am very honest, I am very righteous, I am very pious, I am very ethical. You are also expected to be like that. So he has to demonstrate leading from the front. If I am like this, I have to prove. And then people will follow. Transformational leadership is again a concept which we learned. Still theory coming from Western India, Western world, but then it is again taken birth in India. Transformational leadership. The leader who has got the ability to transform. Transform means change. Change, probably the drastic change he might be doing as a leader. You can take the example of some ministers who have changed the system, some government who have changed the systems. So what they are trying to do, they are trying to transform the system. Whatever were earlier uses, those are not the same they used as of today. So that is transformation leadership. Raises the final more elevated amount of inspiration, profound quality, whereas transactional leadership is portrayed as a trade procedure, bargaining thought. Transactional leadership is the leader will make you understand how do you do the dealings between the two parties. Transaction, how do you do that? So most of the financial management leaders will be following in this kind of a category. So they will guide the people who are under them. So to give you an example, you might be knowing a profession called a chartered accountant. So when you pass out the chartered accountant examination, commerce people will be knowing much better. The chartered accountancy exam is rated as the most difficult exam in Guinness Book of World Records. Most difficult education qualification chartered accountant in Guinness Book it is recorded, because the results of chartered accountancy exam is around 3 to 4%. Last year I think it was some 6.7%. That is high. So if 100 people appear for an exam, only 7 people have passed last year. 7 out of 100. So 93% fail. That is why CA examination is supposed to be the toughest exam in any education sector. And as I have said, it's a reality. It is mentioned in Guinness Book of World Records. The most difficult course is chartered accountant. Now, once you become chartered accountant, you will work under some other chartered accountant, what they call as an articleship, so that you understand how and what way the chartered accountant functions when he is carrying out the chartered accountancy for some company, for some organization, for some government, for some parties. How do they manage with all the figures? So, if this newly become chartered accountants trying to learn from the chartered accountancy firm, in that case, those firms are trying to use this transactional leadership being implemented there. Again, that concept which we have been learning in, you will be learning in another subject, was already here, given by Kautilya. Duties of a leader, what a leader should do. Basically, the leader, looking at political leader perspective, are there for the benefit of the people. We do have a concept, something called as corporator. Corporator, those are there in Mumbai also. In all the district places, in metro city, there is somebody called as a corporator. The translated word for corporator in Sanskrit and Marathi is Nagar Sevak. Sevak is a servant. So corporator should be the servant of that area, but he behaves like a king. Isn't it? All the corporators, they behave like a king. And there are cases, though it is recorded, this could go to those corporators, that once you become a corporator, he will mint at least 10 crore rupees of money in his tenure of 5 years. 10 crore rupees. The person who may be in a slum area, maybe a rickshaw driver, he becomes a corporator and he will mint money up to 5 to 10 crore rupees in his tenure. He should be serving the society. When there are a lot of potholes on the road in his lane, in the territory which he is taking care of as a corporator, those will remain as it is after 5 years. Why? Because he is not thinking about his own duties. So duties of the leader should be, he should be effective, he should be efficient, and he should be undertaking a truthful governance of his state. Now this state has brought down to your lane or your region where you stay, neighborhood where you stay. It presents two pillars of the craft of king's governance, which are justice and ethics. Justice and ethics, talking about big at a top level as a king, he should have to have justice, which is a typical feature of a king, Raja, and ethics is a typical feature of Seen or Rajarshi. That's how the combination comes here again. Human element is talking about, again, saint people. So he should be able to balance between emotion and reason. The king should have to have that ability. That if you can read the history of Shivaji Maharaj, there are many cases where Shivaji Maharaj has taken very strict decisions. He was very strict on discipline. At the same time, he was known to be a very righteous king. He was very much close to the civilians. He used to go to the people's home anytime. Though being a king, he never thought, I am a king and how can I enter into some fool's house. So where he was having a very proper balance of emotion and reason. When somebody has done negative things or indiscipline, violated certain rules and regulations, there are cases where Shivaji has ordered that person to be hanged till death. Because he was very disciplined king, and at the same time he was very emotionally connected to all the fighters with him as well as the entire civilians. So you could see on the streets there are many vehicles which are running, and at the backside there is a photograph of Shivaji Maharaj, some radium photograph. Srimant Yogi or Raje, Shri Kulavatans, all those kind of people write about Shivaji Maharaj. And that vehicle is crossing violating all the traffic rules. Shivaji Maharaj never did that. He was very strict on the rules and discipline. So if you are a king, you should try to become a role model. Shivaji was like that, and at the same time, you should be very emotionally attached. Okay, I will not give you that example. There might be some questions. A person is a good leader when he understands people are mixed of both positive and negative. You cannot guarantee, rather it's not a real situation that all the people around you are of positive. There are going to be the combinations of negative and positive people around you. So you should try to understand more the people who are having negative moods. You try to understand, go to the base of the problem, try to sort out the problem. So there are many cases in the history of Shivaji Maharaj. He has sorted a very lower level problem going to the common people and common problem. That has been done by our today's politicians, but it is for the purpose of only getting that news flash time. Some minister has visited a slum area, जहाँ पे बाढ़ आ गई थी, and then he's more on cameras rather than helping the people. There was the one shooting which I have received. The minister's vehicle is going on. Minister is on the tour of seeing the बाढ़ का situation. ये बाढ़ आ गई है पूरे सिटी में बारिश की वजह से, and the camera is from the minister's vehicle. So they do have a cameraman and the people from the media. So that media person is sitting inside the car and he is shooting, and there is a lot of this water locked in. People are trying to struggle. The vehicles are got stuck up. People are slipping, and this vehicle is going at the speed of 60. And minister is trying to see this Bharaka situation. What is seeing? He is going so fast. He could see from the camera. He could see. If required, possibly I will forward you that video. From the camera, it is seen that some people are literally dipping into the water. Minister should stop in that case and try to help that people. There are 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers stuck up in the water. They are trying to come out. What the minister is doing? बाढ़ का situation देखने गए, is really देख रहा है, कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, help नहीं कर रहा. So those kind of politicians, unfortunately, we have. They only go to show such kind of CSR activities to show that I am doing it. But in reality, there are a lot of things which are behind the scene, and they are not really taking care about the positive negative emotions of the people. They are only there for showcasing their possible concern for the people. In reality, they don't do it. But that should be done. So, leaders should understand the human element of leadership. Kautilya also talks about society growth, labor and preventive measures of calamities. We have discussed yesterday what is the relevance of all these ethos to the different stakeholders. So the stakeholders' relevance is you need to think about the growth of the society. Now when we are saying society at that time, a small kingdom used to be part of the society. So the king who is belonging to that particular territory should look after the carefulness of those people. Society's growth, labor and preventive measures for all the calamities. So we do have different acts. In HR people will be studying in detail. What is labor acts? So there is Payment of Wages Act, there is Minimum Wages Act, there is Provident Fund Act, there is Gratuity Act, there is Industrial Dispute Act, there is Trades Union Act. So all those acts are for the benefit of the labor and for prevention of their interest. If suppose some worker is getting retired from the company and the company has not given him gratuity, so he can file a case under the Gratuity Act against the company that this is my prerogative, this is rather my right and privilege to get the gratuity which I have worked with you for the last 20 years. So you can file a case against that company. But on the other side, the company itself should not create such kind of a situation where somebody has to file a case against. So ethical behavior at the level of the company should be decided by the companies and follow all the acts. In case of calamity, now in such cases, it is good that you are working from home. But then if you are making the people to come to your office places, even in such kind of situation, then you have to think about the welfare of those people. Whether those people will be safely reaching to your workplace. If somebody, some accident happens to someone during the commutation from his home to your company premises, there are cases where company people have said, no, the accident has not happened within the company premises, we are not liable to give him the compensation. And case was won by the worker who met with an accident because it was proven that he was coming to the company only for his duty because company has made it compulsory to come even in such kind of a bad situation. So, trying to understand the situation and the possible difficulties people will have during such calamities when there is an earthquake, when there is a lot of such kind of rainy situation, when there is too much of dearth of water, when there is too much of scorching of sun. If you go to this northern Maharashtra, Nagpur, Jalgaon, Dhule side, there is somewhere average temperature during summer season somewhere around 48 degrees, 50 degrees. People die of heat. So if somebody dies of heat while going to the office or while going from home to the office, company people will say, no, he has not died in the company premises, we will not pay the compensation. In all such cases, the employee wins the case because he has gone out during the 48 degree temperature for the work of the company. So company has to pay the compensation. When the accident happens in the company itself, the company will try to save the compensation amount. But there is a Workmen's Compensation Act which is actually been implemented here. Point is that there should be the measures taken by the company in all such cases of the calamities. Now fortunately you have got many options available. At that time, specifically in the kingdom area or in mythological time, there were no instruments, there were no medical facilities available. Okay, switching it on. Switching it off. Then the king should make sure that the ministers are also working for the betterment of the people. A big question for Indian ministers. So whether they are working really on the benefit of betterment of people. The king should test their capacity before appointing them. All officials should be appointed based on their potential. Here we are talking about formulating a government. So what happens with every government after 5 years, or if it settles down somewhere in between, the new government has to be formulated. When we say new government, either new, if it is from the same party, probably they will continue with the same ministers. But if the new party comes, all ministers will also be changed. So which minister should be given which particular department, that has to be very thoughtfully thought of. On the basis of, okay, let's get it done. Because again those four senses are becoming weak. Yeah. Well, so I was telling you the situation of appointing ministers. So if you see now this could be another small homework which you could do for yourself, not to be submitted. You see the profile of the ministers who are belonging or heading a particular department. For example, education minister. See the profile, whether that education minister is educated. Then agriculture minister, whether that agriculture minister does have his own agricultural land, had he been a farmer before in his past. Then Minister of Economics or Minister of Finance, does he have the financial background? Right? So you just verify the background of the minister. That's the point which I am talking about. So the king should see according to the capacities of the individual. He should decide the officials based on their potential and capacity. So whatever a particular minister is good at, that minister should be given the work which he will do. So a health minister. His minister ideally should be a doctor, medical doctor. But just take the profile of those all other ministers. King should have humility even to those who are defeated. If the king is defeating somebody, he should be humble to the other. I have given you yesterday the example of Rama talking to Ravana. When Ravana died, Rama had gone to near the almost about to die body of Ravana, and then he asked Lakshmana to learn from him. So even to the enemy, even to the foe, you are supposed to be showing your humility. Humility is a humbleness, your simplification. Networking and alliances. Yesterday we talked about businesses going beyond the country, beyond a particular region, not restricted to a particular region. You should extend your business to grow more and more out of the boundary. So there we are talking about networking and alliances. So you will have a lot of cases of mergers or acquisitions, or some company is becoming sick unit, you take over that and start with another company. So that is nothing but merger, networking and alliances. So he said that this networking and alliances should be done strategically. So if suppose I am a hospitality industry, so I am having my hotel which will be given on rent, rooms will be given on rent, so I belong to that particular business. So I will have a tie-up with the company like Make My Trip, right? That's a business alliance. Make My Trip might be treating this this hotel as their customer, but then instead of me becoming customer, I will partner with them so that I might have some share. Maybe an imaginary example, I might have some share with whatever money Make My Trip is making. So if I am a big chain of hotels, instead of me becoming a customer of that Make My Trip, I will become partner with them, because that is an allied partnership. The partners who are into similar kind of business. If I am into the business of hotel hospitality industry, I cannot have a partnership with cement manufacturing company. Try and understand this extreme example, you will understand the meaning of proper alliances. Alliances which are strategically designed. So I will have alliance, I will have tie-up with only such kind of organization which will have got some direct or indirect connection with my business. So I will not have as an hotel or as a hospitality industry tie-up with cement manufacturing company or a paint manufacturing company or maybe supply chain manufacturing company, logistics company. There is no connection between those two businesses. So I will have strategical alliances which will help me to grow my business and grow my profit. So that's what he says. Avoid ecological vulnerability alliances. We have seen yesterday environment or nature as one of your stakeholders. So no businesses should be creating any kind of danger to the environment. Imbalance by size, asset, reputation, market position cannot be totally controlled. So you cannot control. If you are into the new business where there are already some players in the market, if you want to start a similar kind of business, then you will have to fight with all those people who are big in size, who have got big in assets, those who have got good reputation and a brand name in the market, and you are competing with them. It is your problem that you have started with some such kind of a business which already exists. Therefore, a lot of importance is given to the innovative idea. Yesterday we have discussed about CIO, Chief Innovative Officer. So if you are starting with your business, you should be having some such business option which doesn't exist. Only in that case you don't have a competitor. Rather, when other people will come into similar kind of business, you will become their competitor because you are already big in size by that time. You have got a lot of assets created, you have got a lot of reputation in the market, brand established. So when you want to start a new business, you should think about some such kind of business which doesn't exist. I would request you to watch the serial called as Shark Tank. It was in US, but now Indian Shark Tank also is there. One season is done. I think they have started with the second season. So look at the people who are presenting their products, their ideas, entrepreneurship ideas. You will see that those kind of products or those kind of ideas are not existing in India or in wherever countries those Shark Tank seasons or that particular program happens. So these people are coming up with some such ideas which do not exist. So what in management terminology we call as a disruptive idea. Disruptive businesses. Disruptive businesses means which will totally wash out the earlier businesses and you will start a new business. Once the handset came, there was a big queue standing and there was a statistical data available with BSNL that people were surrendering landlines. Now you will rarely come across landlines people are having. How many of you have got landlines in your home? You can look here, 100% people who are not the customers of BSNL. Why? Because mobiles have disrupted landline. So disruptive technology should be there if you want to come out with something of your own as a new entrepreneurial venture. You should have some such product, some such service, some such idea which will probably disrupt all the earlier ideas. There is one company in Pune, I will give you the name, I will give you the example of that company. They have come up with the placements of MBA institutes. Now we will see what is different in this company. So every institute wants to get the placements and your institute will also be having a placement sale. So your placement will be done. So this company has come up with a different idea of placements that has happened before Corona came. They used to do all the interviews online. They used to get you connected to the manager sitting in their offices and you sitting at your home. This we had never thought of. This company started some 5 years before in Pune and they have, in just 5 years time, they have branches in 5 countries. In Malta, then in UK, then in Singapore, I guess, and in Pune, India. 5 countries, they have got the businesses because they have thought of this placement activity happening online when Corona was not there. When education sector never thought of going online. So that is something which is disruptive kind of a technology being used then, and maybe because of a technology or different kind of altogether innovative idea, they have progressed just in 5 years, developed in 5 years. So do you think that when you are coming up with some new concept to start your own business, it is necessary that you should have some what we can say totally out of the box thinking, out of the box idea. Then only you can think about starting your own business. And of course, whatever business you start, it should not be ecologically, it should be ecologically vulnerable. Means it shouldn't be disturbing the environment. Imbalance will be discussing. Unbuilt assets can likewise rise up out of collaborations and rivalry. So you should have the collaborations with the strategic partners. Organizations should strengthen their regions from outside risk and alliances. So when you have tie-ups and alliances specifically at the international level, in typical terms we call those as MNCs. So when you are thinking about MNCs being called as alliances outside, you have to think about the risks. So there were examples in Indian scenario that some companies wanted to start with their operations in India and Indian government didn't allow them. Some companies wanted to start a business in India, Indian government was ready, but then they could see a lot of risk in coming to India. So those all things have to be thought of before you want to start up your business in different countries, because every country will have different rules, even as far as their establishment concerned. Basically taxes are concerned, environmental norms are concerned, behavior patterns are concerned, different labor laws are concerned. So every country has a different slight verification here and there, but then you have to follow all the rules and regulations considering the risk or the possible risk in international alliances. Okay, we'll take a break of 5 minutes.